you're going to learn how to give your testimony in 15 seconds. Okay? Let me model for you. There was a time in my life where I was afraid to die and I had no purpose. And then Jesus forgave me and I decided to follow him. Now I have hope and I have a purpose. Do you have a story like that?
Sort of, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
This is how you bridge in a conversation that, and then now I have my story, you have your story. And that's one point that is very powerful. Don't ever underestimate your story. Jesus wants to use your story. And when you say, can I tell you something that changed my life? Or you tell your testimony, people will say, oh, they want to listen to you because it's your story, right? All right, and then we're going to do this. First, we have an intro part, introduction. And then we're going to do before I was saved, when I was saved, and then after, and then we have a question. Okay, an intro, before, and we are going to start with the intro. I said, there was a time in my life. Okay, now I want you to turn to your body there and repeat that, only that part. There was a time in my life. And back and forth. Now, you're going to find two words that describe your life before Christ came to your life. Okay? Or if you say, oh, I accept Christ, I was 6 years old or 7 years old, I don't remember. Or two words that describe, but sometime in your life, in your Christian life, you are far away from God. Right? Take that and take two words and say, I used that I was afraid to die. Okay? Let's give some example. Ross.
I was impure and anxious.
Okay.
I worried a lot.
David.
I was fearful, I had no confidence.
You see? Just some examples. I said I was afraid to die. I had no purpose. I had no hope. Think about yourself. Write two words right there. So now I want you to do a repetition with your body there, a repetition from here and here. You're going to say, there was a time in my life where I was afraid to die and I had no purpose. Just one to another. Go. Now, what did I say? There was a time in my life where I was afraid to die and I had no purpose in my life. And then I accept forgiven by Jesus. Jesus forgave me, right? And I decided to follow him. Okay? You can use the same words here, right? I was forgiven by Jesus and I decided to follow him. I was forgiven by Jesus and I decided to follow him. Okay? Now again, back and forth. We're going to go until here now. There was a time in my life where I was afraid to die. I had no purpose. I was forgiven by Jesus, and I decided to follow him. Go, repeat to your part.
Make sure you use the name Jesus. Okay? Not the man upstairs or the big guy, or whatever. Don't use that. Or God. Because, that's use Jesus. That's the dividing line, okay, guys?
Witnesses will use the word God.
Everybody, you go to the Emmys or the Grammys, they're all, God changed my life. But the say Jesus Christ. Put that. That's what causes the. That's where the division is.
Yeah. Let's go a little bit further now, and we are almost there. Now you're going to find two words here, which is probably the opposite of these two. That characterize you after you accept Jesus in your life, right? And then you're going to repeat there. You're gonna go until here. There was a time in my life where I was afraid to die. I had no purpose. I was forgiven by Jesus, and I decided to follow him. Now I have peace, and I have purpose in my life. All right? Go. All right? And then now, the last part is that once you tell your story, you're going to ask the person, do you have a story like that? Right? And then you're going to listen to them. And then let me do it, and then you're going to, the last time that you're going to repeat to your body there. There was a time in my life where I was afraid to die. I had no purpose. I was forgiven by Jesus, and I decided to follow him. Now I have peace, and I have purpose in my life. Do you have a story like that? Okay? Repeat to your point.
So how do I use this? So what is this? How does this look, right? And so the idea is, if you're in a conversation with somebody, okay, and they begin to articulate something broken in their life, a struggle. I don't know. I mean, whatever it may be, you can go, there was a time in my life. It's a flipper. There's a time in my life where I struggled with this, almost the identical same thing you did, or something similar. But I came to experience what Christ did for me. And I surrendered my life to him. I follow him. And now, I still struggle with those things sometimes, but I know I have peace now. I know that I'm going to get over that. Did that ever happen to you? Do you see what happens? You just changed the conversation. See, the whole point of this conversation is again, this is really your story to get to God's story. We're always trying to get to that, guys, God's story. I want you to put God's story right here, and we're gonna get there in just a second. So let me give you an example, okay? So I've used this one 100 times. I got trained on this 3 years ago, and it was on a Thursday I got trained on the 15 seconds. So Sunday night, I'm at my son's baseball practice. And that's typically where I kind of like, if you're in the ministry, Sunday night, there's no gas left in the tank. I mean, you're done. You don't have any more words. I mean, I don't have any more, I have no more small talk in me. I mean, I'm done. And so Sunday night, I'm at my son's baseball practice. And I just go there to relax and read my Bible and look up and watch him shagging foul balls. And there's just something therapeutic. And, well, I'm sitting there, and this guy comes and sits down in front of me. He's one of the other dads. And he won't shut up. And I'm like, And I mean, I'm doing everything I can. And I'm being rude, and I shouldn't be, but it was just, anyway. Like I said, I don't have much left in the tank Sunday night, and so he looks at me, and I have a Kindle, and I'm reading my Bible. I'm not trying to be, super spiritual, but I just something about reading it, and he goes, "What are you reading?" And it was like God's 15-second testimony. And I said, there was a time in my life where I never read the Bible. It never even occurred to me to read the Bible. But I came to experience what Christ did for me, and I read the Bible like love letters, and now I read the Bible all the time. Has anything like that happened to you? And he's sitting there, we're on bleachers, and he's just and he looks at me, and there's two ladies to my left, and there's another two ladies to in front. It was like, and they all just went, I did it. I threw it down. I died. There was a death because I wanted those people to think I was a normal parent, and I wasn't anymore. And he looks at me and he just pauses, and it felt like eternity. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I got a story like that too. He was a youth pastor up in Anna, which is just north of Dallas. So I flipped it. And next thing we were talking about his ministry and, all this stuff. From that day forward, he called me his Jesus buddy. So the point is, it's a cadence. It's a contrast. Now, how do I get these mundane conversations? You go, don't make stuff up, but there's always a light. We're trying to connect with brokenness and go, I have brokenness in my life. And, there was a time when I was depressed and I struggled. But, I came to read about what Christ did for me on the cross. And there's a change in my life. Has that happened to you? And what's going to happen is they're going to go yes or no. And then guess what you do at that point? Hey, well, I'll pray for you. I'll see you later. No, right? What do? Let me tell you something that changed my life. And now you're an ambassador. You're living your identity. You're giving them the message of reconciliation, right? You're living, right then, at that moment, you're like, whoa, I didn't see any lights or nothing. No, you start living your identity right there. And so, guys, I'll end on this. I don't know if it occurred to you, but this is all people had in the Gospels. The Gerasene demoniac in Mark chapter 4. There was a time in my life I was in the tombs and I was cutting myself. I was naked. I was busting things. No one wanted to talk to me. And this guy came. I didn't know who he was. His name was Jesus. And I believed in him. He cast out demons. And now it says I'm in my right mind. And that guy wanted to follow Jesus, and he had one foot in the boat. And Jesus get your foot out of the boat and go back to your family and tell them what I did for you. Read it. He literally is I'm fine. He's like, no, go back to the Decapolis. I don't know if you read the rest of the story. But when Jesus came back to that other side of the Gerasene, the Decapolis, there was a crowd waiting for him. The guy did exactly what Jesus said. All he had was this. He didn't know the Trinity. He didn't know anything. All he knew is I ran into a guy and he changed my life. That's all he had is a simple testimony. The woman at the well? There's a guy down there that knows about me. He knows everything about me. She went back to the town, told everyone the town came to him. Okay, so if God can use a demon-possessed guy cutting themselves in the tombs, and he can use a woman who's been with 5 guys, who's currently with 4 men, who's currently with a 5th guy, can he use you? I hope so. I want you to go and share your 30 second. Ooh, I just gave you more than that. Your 15-second testimony. I want you right now, get up, go share your 15-second testimony with 2 or 3 people in here. All right, just a repetition. It's going to feel wonky. Just do it. Go get something to drink, go to the bathroom, and come back, and then we'll start on God's story. All right, go.